Mama, I brought this bread for you. Eat and die.
Otuocha village was the kind of place where life moved slowly, each day beginning with the smell of wet earth, wood smoke, and roasted corn drifting from the roadside. Among the small mud houses scattered near the river Niger stood one coated in fading white paint, the home of Mama Paul, the widow everyone in the village knew. She loved church. She loved helping people. And more than anything else, she loved bread. Even children in the village teased themselves in play with her nickname. "Go and buy bread like Mama Paul," they would say. She never minded. Bread was her comfort, especially since life had squeezed every other joy out of her hands. Her husband had died when Paul, her only child, was barely 7. She raised him alone, farming behind the house, working in people's cassava fields, and washing clothes for small pay. She was poor, but anyone who stepped near her doorstep knew she was soft-hearted. If someone was hungry, she would divide even her last slice of bread into 2. Paul grew up watching her struggle, and though she never said it, she had high hopes that he would one day rise above the weight of poverty that sat heavily on their home. On a dusty Harmattan morning, a tinted jeep rolled into Otuocha, stirring excitement. The villagers whispered and pointed as the car parked beside the old almond tree near the village square. From the jeep stepped Chief Hugo, a tall, well-fed man in flowing white kaftan. He was a respected businessman in Lagos, known for owning one of the biggest women's clothing warehouses in Balogun Market. Paul was at home, repairing the hinge of their door, when Mama ran in breathlessly. "My son," she said, trying to catch her breath. "Chief Hugo is in the village. He wants to take a boy to Lagos to learn business." Paul dropped the rusted nail he was holding. His heart began to beat fast. He had been praying for an opportunity, all he wanted was a chance to change their lives. "Mama, are you sure?" "Yes, my son. Go and meet him before another person takes the chance." They hurried out together. Chief Hugo looked Paul up and down, nodding slowly. "How old are you?" 17, sir. "Are you ready to work?" "Truly work?" "Yes, sir." The chief nodded again. "Good. If you follow me to Lagos, you will serve for 7 years. After that, I will settle you properly so you can open your own shop." 7 years sounded like a lifetime, but Paul agreed immediately. Anything was better than watching his mother continue to suffer. That evening, Mama called him inside their small kitchen. Her eyes were red from crying, though she tried to hide it. "Paul, kneel down." He did. "My son, you are going to a big city. You will see many things. Some good, some bad. But remember who you are. Do not steal. Do not chase what is not yours. Be content with whatever your master gives you. Respect him. Obey him. If you follow these things, God will bless you." Her voice shook. "And remember me. I may not have wealth, but I have prayers. Don't let me hear shameful things about you in that Lagos." Paul touched her hands gently. "Mama, I will not disappoint you." The next morning, after the villagers had gathered, after the prayers and handshakes, Paul entered the jeep with his small nylon bag containing 2 shirts, a pair of trousers, and a Bible Mama gave him. As the car moved, Mama stood waving, her wrapper fluttering in the breeze, tears running freely down her cheeks. Lagos hit Paul like a slap of hot air and noise. Balogun Market was a world he had never imagined: shouting traders, colorful fabrics, the smell of fried yam, buses honking impatiently, and the endless traffic of people pushing through tight spaces. Chief Hugo's warehouse stood like a giant among shops, tall metal doors, stacked cartons of clothing, and workers moving in and out all day. Women came from Abuja, Onitsha, Port Harcourt, and even Benin Republic to buy dresses, trousers, tops, and lace materials. Paul began work immediately. He swept the store, arranged clothes, carried boxes, recorded sales, followed his master everywhere, and slept in a small room behind the warehouse. At first, he struggled. His hands developed blisters, his back ached, and he often fell asleep before finishing dinner. But he learned fast. By the 5th year, he had become the most trusted apprentice in the warehouse. Customers asked for him personally. "Where is that boy with quick hands?" they would ask. "Paul, bring 20 pieces of that gown," another would say. He could identify fabrics with his eyes closed. He knew prices, colors, and where everything was arranged. Most importantly, he watched money flow, millions passing through his master's hands daily. The more he watched, the more something dark grew inside him. One night, exhaustion pulled him into a deep sleep, but his dream was sharp and bright. He saw himself standing in his own warehouse, 3 times bigger than Chief Hugo's. Customers filled the place like floodwater in rainy season. People rushed to him, buying in bulk. He woke up sweating. This life must change, he whispered in the dark. I am tired of waiting. One evening, after closing for the day, he approached his master. Sir, I want us to talk. Chief Hugo looked up from counting money. Yes, Paul? Sir. I know we agreed on 7 years. But I have served for 5 years diligently. Please settle me now so that I can start my own business. Chief Hugo frowned. Why are you in a hurry? Sir, I am ready. I have learned everything. No, the chief said firmly. A man must honor his agreement. You said 7 years. Finish it. Paul's face hardened. Sir, but. No but. I will not discuss this again. Paul walked away, anger burning in his chest. That man doesn't want me to progress, he muttered to himself. If I don't help myself, nobody will. 2 weeks later, Chief Hugo traveled to his village to supervise a building project. Before leaving, he gave Paul instructions. Take care of the warehouse. Don't open unnecessary cartons. Don't touch anything without proper record. Paul nodded respectfully. Yes, sir. But the moment the chief's car disappeared down the road, a new plan awakened in Paul's mind like a shadow spreading across the floor. This is my chance. Over the next 2 days, he made secret calls to retailers he had befriended. They came quietly, bought goods worth a total of 15 million naira. Paul packed his small bag, locked the warehouse, and vanished into the Lagos night. When Chief Hugo returned and opened the warehouse door, he staggered backward. Where are the goods? He shouted. He counted, checked, turned around, checked again. Half of the shelves were empty. He rushed to his office computer. No money had entered his account. None. He dialed Paul's number. The number you have dialed is not reachable. Again. And again. He called the police. They searched Mushin, Yaba, Ikorodu, Ajagun, everywhere Paul had ever mentioned. Nothing. After 3 weeks of fruitless search, the chief drove to Otuocha. Mama Paul was weeding behind her house when she saw him. She stood up immediately, wiping her face. Sir. What happened? Why are you here? Is my son alive? Chief Hugo sighed deeply. Mama. Paul stole from me. 15 million naira worth of goods. The hoe fell from her hand. He did what? He ran away. His phone is off. Mama fell on her knees. Sir, please forgive him. I will beg him to return the money. Please don't arrest him. The chief raised his hand. No need. If he wants the money so badly, let him have it. That will be his settlement. I am done. Tears filled her eyes. Thank you, sir. He left quietly. Mama Paul sat on the bare ground, shaking as the news soaked into her bones. My son, what did you do? Paul had run to Abulegba, rented a small self-contained apartment, and opened a tiny women's clothing shop on a crowded street. With the stolen money, he furnished the apartment, bought flashy clothes, changed hairstyles constantly, and became a regular face in nightclubs. He started clubbing 4 times a week, drinking expensive wines, paying for VIP sections, and shouting Doremi with reckless joy. But business was not growing. Some weeks, only 1 or 2 customers came. Most bought just 1 piece. This is not how it works, he complained to himself constantly. Where are the big buyers? Where is the money? Paul's savings began to disappear fast. One evening at the club, he approached Mike, a notorious baller. Mike, please show me how you make your money. I am ready to do anything. Mike stared at him. Anything? Yes. Anything. Mike sighed. Be careful what you say. Some roads don't allow you to turn back. I don't care. I need money. All right. On Saturday morning, follow me. Saturday arrived. They drove to a shrine in Ikorodu, surrounded by thick forest. Inside, a man with white chalk markings and red beads sat on a stool. His name was Ikorodu. "What do you want?" he asked Paul. "Money. I want to be rich. I want to enjoy life fully." "Who do you love the most?" "My mother." "What is her favorite food?" "Bread." Ikorodu smiled darkly. "Good. Buy bread for her. Wrap it with this cloth. Let it stay overnight. Tomorrow morning, travel to give it to her. Make sure she eats it before 6 in the evening. After that, wealth will follow you. But if she does not eat it, you will face the consequences." He handed Paul a dirty red cloth. Paul swallowed hard, but nodded. On their way home, he bought bread from a roadside vendor. That night, after wrapping the bread, excitement trembled through his body. His mind whispered lies to him. "Mama is old. She has lived her life. She will understand. This is my chance." He barely slept. At exactly 5 in the morning, Paul boarded a bus heading to Otuocha. He carried the bread, some women's clothes, fruits, and beverages. Meanwhile, in the village, Mama had gone to 6 a.m. mass. As she walked home around 8 a.m., she saw a mad woman eating spoiled bread near the waste dump. The woman looked wild, tearing the bread apart with trembling hands. Mama paused, watching with pity. Suddenly the mad woman glared at her. "Why are you looking at me? Haven't you seen someone eating bread before?" she barked. "Don't worry, your son is bringing bread for you. You will eat it and join your ancestors today. Go home." Mama stepped back in shock. What is she talking about? Fear crawled through her chest. When she reached home, she saw Paul sitting outside, smiling widely. "Mama." Paul ran to hug her. "Paul," she called in surprise. She held him tightly. "My son. You didn't tell me you were coming." He laughed nervously. "I wanted to surprise you." Inside, she asked, "Paul, why did you take your master's money?" He lowered his head. "Mama, it was the devil. I regret everything. That's why I brought you these." He gave her the bread and gifts. She blessed him. He waited for her to eat the bread, but she didn't. She went to weed the small farm behind their house. Paul went out to meet some of his friends in the village. When he returned, he found out that the bread is untouched. He asked her why and she said, "I will eat later." The third time he came, pushing her to eat immediately, she stopped working and stared at him closely. "Paul, why are you forcing me to eat this bread?" Her mind replayed the mad woman's words. She said her son will bring bread for her and he did. Is this a warning? Paul stuttered. "Mama, you need strength." "No. Something is wrong," she whispered internally. She went inside, ate food secretly, and continued working slowly, observing his behavior. At 5 p.m. Paul checked the kitchen. The bread was untouched. "Mama, why haven't you eaten?" "I am fasting till 6 p.m., she said quietly. "Pastor announced it last Sunday." Paul's heart dropped. He began to cry. "Mama, please, eat. Even small. Please." She shook her head. "I will break my fast at 6. At 5:58, he fell on his knees. "Mama, please, eat it. Please, I am begging you." She looked down at him, shook her head slowly, and whispered, "Paul, what have you done?" Then the clock struck 6. Paul screamed. "Mama has finished me. Oh. Mama, why didn't you eat it?" "I just wanted to make money," she gasped. "Paul, what are you talking about?" Before she could finish speaking, he ran into the kitchen, grabbed the bread, and began eating it violently, as if something inside him controlled him. His eyes reddened, his hands trembled. "Neighbors, come and help me. Oh. I don't know what is wrong with my son," Mama cried. He fell on the ground, shaking, coughing, then vomiting. Bundles of cash spilled from his mouth. Neighbors rushed in. "Mama, what is happening?" Mama was crying. "My son, why? Why did you choose this path?" Paul vomited until his body collapsed. Within minutes, he was gone. When Paul's lifeless body lay still on the ground, the entire compound fell silent. The neighbors who had rushed in minutes earlier now stepped back slowly, whispering among themselves, shaken by what they had just witnessed. The smell of vomited money filled the air, crumpled, blood-stained notes that nobody dared to touch. Mama Paul stood over her son, her wrapper stained with dirt, her eyes blank. She did not cry. Her heart felt too heavy for tears. "My son," she whispered under her breath, "I loved you more than my own life. Why did you choose this road?" The neighbors could see the sorrow etched on her face, but they also sensed a strange calmness in her posture, the kind that comes when pain is too deep to express. By evening, the village young men gathered with shovels. They dug a shallow grave behind the small house. Paul's body was wrapped simply, and at Mama's instruction, every single note he vomited was thrown into the grave with him. The villagers murmured, but nobody stopped her. "He brought this money through evil," she said quietly. "Let it return with him." Not a single person in the village shed tears. There were no funeral songs, no dirges, no traditional rites. Even the wind seemed still, as if acknowledging that greed had destroyed a promising young man long before death came for his body. When the final sand covered the grave, Mama Paul stood alone for a long time. The weight of betrayal pressed hard on her chest, yet she found strength in one truth: she had loved Paul well. She had warned him. She had prayed for him. But a child who refuses wisdom walks into danger with his eyes wide open. She turned back into her house, locking the door gently behind her. Outside, the neighbors slowly dispersed, each person carrying home a lesson they would never forget. In life, choose patience over shortcuts, choose integrity over greed, and choose gratitude over envy. The road may be slow, but clean hands always reach their destination. If you want more stories like this, true to life, emotional, and full of lessons, make sure you follow, like, share, and stay tuned for the next one. Because sometimes, one story can save someone's life.